Hello, welcome to Artful Learning. I am Carol Ambergy and I am a retired elementary school and elementary art teacher. Today I want to share with you a lesson called Extend a Scene. This is a lesson I use mainly with fifth graders who really seem to get into the details, and it seems to be a really big confidence builder as children learn that they can actually do more than they think they can do. I'll show you first this sample, and if you look very, very closely, you can see that this is the picture part of a card, just a greeting card. Now, I usually do this at Christmas, but it's a wonderful lesson to do any time of the year using any kinds of cards. I was very fortunate in that some parents had donated different greeting cards throughout the year for us to use. So here is Mozzie. He also has his Christmas haircut on here. So I will show you how to go from children looking and picking out from an assortment of old greeting cards. So what they're going to do is pick out a card that they think they can extend the scene. This makes kids very aware of things such as details in their environment, how they can adapt their artwork, how they can modify this picture, how they can copy, and how they can add their own touches. I think they will have a great fun. It's a good time, and they love talking and sharing about this art project. For this project, they need to choose a card that they can continue the pattern. So this one would be pretty simple because the snowman, he would only need to be continued down here. So I'll show you very quickly on this one how that might look. So I'll start with this one, which is a relatively easy one to do if somebody is feeling not really confident that they can do this or understand it. So what I need to do is cut off the back of the card. And of course, if you're using recycled cards, you don't want anybody's names to be showing up on it. So you're going to trim it off and kind of center it so there is white space all around your card. And then just glue that on. It's pretty important to glue it on because you don't want it to wiggle around a lot. So you want to minimize the movement. Get it somewhat centered here. I'm saving this part for another card to show you. Now, on this one, I would tell the children, well, first what you have to do is find the lines to extend. So I would extend this out down here to complete the snowman. The same on this side. Okay? Looks like this scarf can be extended too. So you're just going to extend these lines. Here is a little line of glitter. There's a lot of attention to details in a project like this. Now, it looks like this line extends here, and they can make the scarf like that. So what they're adding on to continues the pattern, but it also is their own. So if they want one more button here, this is great, and they would pay attention to those details to match that button. Okay, now moving up to the sides of the card, it's pretty much all going to be blue, so I would let the child, at this point, I would give them some choice. If they wanted to paint this part light blue, let that dry, and then add the snowflakes with white crayon or chalk, or if you even had some little punch-out snowflakes, there are little die-cut snowflakes that you could add. You don't need to do anything here. So this would be a relatively simple one. I would have the child try to complete this plaid design here. So it is really continuing. This one is a lot about pattern. So that's a good concept too. Okay, so that one's pretty easy. As far as what to do down here in the white, I would probably let them use just some, since this is white paper, I might just let them use some glitter, either glitter glue to put on here, and this I would do either with little red markers. Colored pencils work very good because on these kind of projects, you have a lot more flexibility. Actually, that's a really pretty good match. So you're going to try to match the lines, match the pattern and design to create and extend this pattern. When I first did this, I wasn't sure that the kids would really like this project, but they certainly did. And they loved sharing what they were doing and talking about it as they did it. So there is the simple snowman. I am not going to do the glitter and finish this, but you get the idea. So I'm going to switch to another card now and show you how this next one might look. Okay. This one looks like it would be pretty easy as well, but as you notice, there isn't any real direct line to finish here, and there's probably nothing to add here. So what I would do on this one, again, I'm going to cut the back off of the card, and I'm going to glue it on to keep it very stable. Now, again, the child would pick out one card and do one design. Picking out the card sometimes is the hardest part. I would take this one this way. Okay, and you're probably wondering, well, what could they do to extend this? And I would say on this one, I would encourage them to add some more of these flag ornaments. Now, noticing that these are circles, I would say, well, you have to look for something in the room that maybe you could trace. Well, let's just try this one. I have a feeling this is going to be a little bit too big, but it's a learning process. Okay, that will work. And then they can probably free draw the ribbon coming down. Oops, sorry about that. And add a bow. So you're probably saying, well, there's an awful lot of drawing on this, and that's true, it is, but that is also an art skill. So let them learn, let them try. Maybe notice how there's a little curve since this is a round ball. Talk about spheres. Okay. So in this one, they could add one more. They could add a whole row of them. It'd be totally up to them. Some kids might want to even add some additional writing at the bottom or something down here. That again, that's just their creativity and the way that they're going to do it. So I think you get the idea. So when they were done with that, I would, as an adult, I would trim this and possibly with either of these, mount them on a piece of black paper. They look very colorful that way. Now on the back, I'm going to show you two other cards and how they would work. So here is one, and these are all Christmas cards, but as I was saying, this is a fun project to do. Well, this actually is really pretty cool because it has little different seams on both sides here. This is a lot of fun to do because it's really fun to do with Valentine's cards and Easter cards. So, but you can do any holiday cards. They could probably even do something with magazines. So those two could go like that. Hello, Mozzie. Let's see. Mozzie thinks he wants to help. He's quite into this art stuff. Bye. So this one, I would center it again we would talk about these lines. So I'm going to glue this on. Now, I say, look, let's look for the lines that you need to continue. Oh, down here there's some swirls. Interesting how these look like shadows. So this is a great way to teach shadowing of colors, following the lines. When they get down here, if they choose to paint, they're going to be using maybe a gray paint that's a little bit darker to match this. And then look right here, it is a fence. So that brings me to another point. You might need to use a ruler for this project, or a straight edge. I have a little straight edge here, and I would just have them extend this right out, this little fence. Okay, matching the lines, and I notice there's little stone columns, and believe it or not, the children will pick up on that and they'll say, oh wow, that's hard, or how do I make that? So, but it's drawing their attention to detail and to the environment and what's going on. This is a little iron fence. Very pretty. The same thing with the tree. These branches need to be extended out. So you get how that is done. On this one, I would also either do colored pencils, or maybe just a little bit of watercolor would do, and then it seems to have like a little bit of glitter thrown in. And I did this mostly with 5th graders, and they would know that they're not going to finish this project in one day, but the second day when they add these, and even these branches, I'm going to have them notice that there is snow on them, and they have to kind of figure out how they're going to dab that snow on. So maybe if they did this all with watercolor, they could go back and just do a little bit of paintbrush of tempera paint. It gives it a little bit of thickness. And when it dries, then you can add this little bit of green glitter. The last one I'm going to demonstrate is probably the one that has the most details. Okay, does that work there? Okay, so this was a card that I have had for a long time, and I'm going to start it right there. And I usually have a little mini conference with every child about their selection, so to point out, is that really the card you want to do? Because look, this might have these trees to do, and what is this up here? Oh, that's the porch railing. So this one has some real depth perception, because look at the little plane in the background. You might want to pick up that little sky over here. So on this one, I would have them try to notice that this is a porch. They can continue this column down here. Look at the details in the column. Okay, they might want to continue with the snow. That's fairly easy to add to. And the evergreen trees, how they come out. Right? So they don't need to add a lot. They just need to add some. If they wanted to put the top part of the roof on, they could do that up here. And it looks like there's more spindles here. This looks like a kind of an old Victorian home. Maybe finish these little spindles and railings up here. Also might have to continue some of the greenery. So this by far is one of the harder ones to do. But anything they add to should be good. Looks like they could add to a barn over here, add another barn. It's up to them how much they want to do. So I just love this project, and like I said, when I'm done, I trim them and then would put them on a piece of black paper. I want to show you one more, and this was done by a 5th grade boy who chose this picture, and he did a fantastic job with it. So let me show you this one. This one is a stained glass window, and if you look very closely, you will see the card is right here. You can only tell that because you can see where it lifts up just a tiny bit. But there was so much work involved in this. He even has these dissecting lines in here. You can tell he did a fantastic job. It looks like he started doing watercolor over here and then may have switched over to markers on this side. But I think it was a phenomenal job, and I just love the way it turned out. And this is the one that I completed, and you can see that on both of these, I cut them out, I trimmed them, and I just used plain black paper and cut it down to size. On this one, I actually fit it into a picture frame. So thank you very much for watching. I hope you subscribe to my channel and look for more exciting lessons from Artful Learning.